So the way you use Japanese case particles is, you take the particle indicating the grammatical case you want, and stick it directly after the word or phrase you want to make the case of. You put it after any conjugations, and there's no exceptions. Have the word, case particle. Okay? That's it. It's easy as that. So now let's take a look at some of the most common Japanese case particles. Also, 2 notes. 1, this is not an exhaustive list. So there are case particles I'm not going to mention. 2, many of these particles can indicate more than one case. And I'm not going to do an exhaustive list of all those because I don't even understand them all. This is just my own research and I'm only beginning. However, I'm going to try and give you an idea of how these work, so you can use them. Our first particle is wa. Wa is a nominative case particle. It means its antecedent is the subject of the sentence. Simple as that. The thing you put it after is the subject of the sentence. That's the thing from whose view this idea is happening. This is the doer, usually, of the action. No is a genitive or partitive case particle. Genitive means it indicates possession. Partitive means it can also indicate a smaller selection of a larger idea. English equivalents are '(s) and of. Example, this is the University of Tsukuba's pond. I am a student of Tsukuba University. Those would both be used with no in Japanese. これは筑波大学の池です. See that no? Or again, 僕は筑波大学の大学生です. I am a student of Tsukuba University. The Japanese case particle o is an accusative case particle. It indicates the direct object of a sentence, or the receiver of the action of the verb. Okay? So the thing you do the verb to. For example, the boy kicked the ball. The ball. It indicates the ball as being the thing that was kicked. That's it. Ni can be an illative or dative case particle. It indicates either a destination or an indirect object. So, it indicates where you're going, or who, for whom, or to whom you're doing something. So the English equivalent is to, as in, I'm going to school, 学校に行きます, or I gave it to her, 彼女にあげました. De is a locative or instrumental case particle. This means it indicates the location where something is happening or the means by which something happens. The English equivalents are at or via. For example, I studied at school. 学校で勉強しました. Or I came via taxi. タクシーで来ました. Lastly, another common case particle that you'll probably learn in the first couple of days of Japanese, but you might not even think about. Ka is an interrogative case particle. This one modifies the entire sentence, and it marks the entire sentence as being interrogative in nature. For those of you that still haven't caught on to the jargon, it makes the sentence a question. The English equivalent, a question mark. You just tack it on after what it modifies, in this case, the whole sentence. Simple, right? So conclusions. If you already know what cases are, or if you've already taken Latin, try taking Japanese. It'll be easy. Secondly, I'm learning the language just like anyone else. But I kind of came in here with the knowledge of linguistics and kept studying it as I was learning, and it really helped a lot. So for those of you that are learning a new language, thinking about taking an intro class or just picking up a textbook and browsing, it really helps. If you're taking Japanese and you're having trouble with the particles, I'm not going to tell you to go out and memorize all the Latin-based jargon. Just be aware of what the particles do and the rules by which they operate. That's the key. And since that wasn't an exhaustive list, if in the future you come to a particle that you're not quite sure how to use, try getting a bunch of sentences together and figuring out what it's saying in the context of the entire sentence. It might help if you first translate the sentences as close as you can into English. And then once you have the whole meaning of the sentence down, try and look for patterns on how it's used and what it means. Alternatively, if you educate yourself about cases, then this will help you in the long run when you take other languages. And plus, if you see something in the future and you're thinking, oh, I want to do something at some place. That's locative, I'll use de. Then it works too. Lastly, sometimes it's helpful for people to memorize the English equivalents to Japanese particles. So that really helps in cases like ni and de, where the distinction between going somewhere and doing something somewhere is a very slight one that a lot of people have trouble differentiating. But since you already differentiated in English, if you memorized ni as being going to somewhere and day is at, then when you're thinking in English, you already make that distinction, and you shouldn't have a problem. I'm making this video because of a lot of questions that I got about Japanese case particles from people that are studying Japanese. And actually, I also got a lot of questions from Japanese people themselves who were asking either to see how I understood the language for their own curiosity, or because they were trying to help a friend of theirs who was struggling with the language. I'm just trying to systematize the language and make it understandable for people and give you a firm foundation where you might not get in class. If this is helpful, I'd love to know. If you think I'm wrong, please send me an email and I'll correct it. My email is listed below. It should pop up about now or on the description. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.